But again, if you guys have any questions along the way, feel free to drop those in the chat. Make sure that it's to everyone, so everyone can see questions as well. Okay. First of all, because I can't see you guys, let me drop in the chat if you guys are still with me and you're still good and you're excited for this training. Give me a yes. Okay. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Ashley Rice, and I am co-founder of the Lavender Lifestyle. I'm a registered nurse and NASM certified personal trainer as well. Yay, everybody's here and ready to learn. Thank you guys. I love that. Okay, cool. I'm a certified personal trainer and a certified nutrition coach with an emphasis in functional nutrition. And if you are not familiar with that term, it is basically about addressing the body as a whole instead of individual systems, and using food as not only fuel, but medicine. Food is extremely healing, and our body is extremely healing as long as we give it what it needs, right? And so that's a lot of what we're going to be talking about today too, as it relates to stress and hormones. Okay, and then for those of you who are not familiar with the Lavender Lifestyle, we are a community of women coming together to encourage each other to just be the best versions of ourselves, the healthiest versions of ourselves, to look and feel our best. And then TLL Fit is essentially the same thing as the Lavender Lifestyle. You might have seen the Lavender Lifestyle as our Instagram handle. TLL Fit is the name of our app that we house all of our programs inside of. So you'll see those names kind of used interchangeably. We have two coaches within the Lavender Lifestyle, Coach Christy Starr and Coach Michelle Polzian, and they are both amazing women. Oh, we got someone else, let me admit her. They are both amazing at helping their clients just find the healthiest versions of themselves, but learn how to understand their body and what their body needs individually. So, and then we have Jessie. Some of you guys might have seen Jessie. She is our consult specialist. So she will hop on calls with people who are interested in our programs and kind of guide them in the direction that they need to go for what works best for them. We also have Kelsey. She handles our graphic design. And then Jocelyn is my sister and co-founder. She's pictured here as well. And she is more on the fitness side as well as the community and events side of things. Okay, so addressing hormones produced in the adrenal gland, adrenal glands, that is what we're talking about today. I've got my notes over to the side, so if you see me looking over, I like to have notes so I stay on track. I can get off on a tangent. So often the adrenal glands are overlooked by conventional medicine, specifically the stress hormone cortisol. And cortisol, you might be familiar with cortisol. It's the hormone that is a part of fight or flight. So basically it's designed to help us in life-threatening situations. So it's a good thing. It will help us, get out of flee from a stressful situation or put up a fight or whatever it is that we need to do. It does some awesome things that we're going to go into, but when it is turned on, so it's designed to be turned on and off. It's designed to come down. So when it is turned on for a prolonged period of time, it can cause a lot of issues throughout the body. So we want to talk about how we can keep that balanced and not chronically elevated. So it's definitely overlooked by conventional medicine. Conventional medicine will focus more on the pathology related to these glands, and that looks like Addison's disease or Cushing syndrome. You might have heard of those. And Cushing syndrome is elevated adrenals. Addison's is reduced adrenal hormones, and those are at the pathological level. So it's actually a disease state in the body. What we're going to talk about today is kind of the in-between, where those hormones are elevated and then depleted, but not necessarily at a pathological level, but it's enough because, as we talked about, everything in the body is related. And then when these when these hormones are out of whack and out of balance, it's going to affect other hormones and make them out of whack and out of balance. And it's going to lead to some form of disease or just more imbalances in the body. So we want to talk about keeping them at a functional level, so it's no longer going to poorly affect other systems in the body. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so the adrenal glands help us adapt to stress. Hold on, let me get okay. So most of us don't take time or the steps needed for rest and replenish. We overtax our systems with cumulative stress. And a lot of it is, the society that we live in today. We're just designed to go. I mean, everything is set up for us to go, 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 go. There's no downtime. We have a tablet in front of us. We have a computer in front of us, and we've got our phones in front of us. We're watching TV. We're on our phones. I mean, it is just nonstop. We don't take time to just chill and relax and recover. And over time, when this just compounds, it can be toxic and harmful because, as I mentioned, the adrenal hormones play a role in the balance of all the other hormones. So when those are off, it can lead to unexplained hunger and cravings or a lack of hunger cues. It can lead to digestive concerns, electrolyte problems, which correlates to hydration, blood pressure dysregulation, so extremely high or extremely low blood pressures, and then problems with our sleep and wake cycle. And a lot of these too, like stress can cause issues in these areas. And then with these are off, it can cause further stress to our body. So then it just kind of continues like a vicious cycle. When the adrenals are taxed, your sodium and potassium regulation is off, which again can affect hydration. Your sex hormone production can be off. So that's progesterone, estrogen, testosterone. So your adrenal hormones are designed to pick up the slack to keep these at optimal levels. So when the ovaries aren't functioning optimally, or if they just need a little help, the adrenals will kick in. So if these are off, if these aren't functioning properly, then it's going to affect progesterone, estrogen, and testosterone, especially through menopause, when women are going through the change and the ovaries are no longer producing these at the levels that they used to. And if your adrenals aren't functioning properly, they're not going to kick in like they're supposed to. So that's going to cause a lot of the side effects felt through menopause. And so some women can breeze through menopause and not have those crazy side effects and fluctuations, whereas others are just completely off. And a lot of that has to do with the health of their adrenals. It also plays into blood sugar metabolism. So when cortisol levels are elevated, it also will elevate your blood sugar levels, and that helps. So as cortisol rises, the liver will release stored sugars into the blood to help give us that energy for fight or flight. But elevated blood sugar leads to elevated insulin. And we got someone else coming in. Hold on. So insulin is there to move sugars into the cells, okay, to be used as fuel. Well, when our blood sugar is elevated, insulin is elevated, that elevated insulin level then triggers the body to store fat. So elevated cortisol levels result in stored fat or increased storing of fat. It also will cause the body to crave salty and sweet foods. And so that's how you see, you probably heard that cortisol will lead to decrease in fat loss. And that is why it has a lot to do with the blood sugar response to elevated cortisol levels. And then if blood sugar is already high, if you're somebody who already eats a lot of refined sugars or processed foods in your diet, and then you add stress on top of it, it really puts you at risk for pre-diabetes and diabetes. So it's definitely something to consider. It also, like I mentioned, the increase in fat, it causes that increase in fat specifically through the midsection as well as the face and the upper back. So, and then that added fat can turn around and cause estrogen dominant, because it can kind of function as its own like hormonal gland, basically, that added fat, which causes an increase in estrogen, and then will make your estrogen progesterone balance off, and that causes a slew of other issues as well. Okay, so it's important to know, you guys, that stress can be physical, emotional, or environmental. So I think sometimes we just like relate it to stress from work or, stress of just going nonstop. But actually, it can be emotional, physical, and environmental. So emotional would be like parenting. I don't know about you guys, but when I became a parent, I didn't I didn't no, I was highly stressed before, but man, adding parenting to the mix just definitely threw my stress levels up. Divorce can cause increased stress, dysfunctional relationships, dysfunctional marriage, your work life, declining health of a parent or family member can cause added stress. Or if you're a type A personality, if you're a perfectionist, that can definitely lead to added stress. Physical, forms of stress, if you're someone who works night shift. I used to work nights when I was a nurse, and I mean, just trying to get my body in balance, it was impossible because I'd go back and forth. So I'd work night shifts, and then I would move into just living life during the day like a normal human being. But the back and forth just totally threw me and increased my stress levels. If you have odd work patterns that just aren't consistent, if you have children who aren't sleeping through the night, I've got that going on right now. If you're not getting enough sleep, good quality of sleep, or if you're someone who likes to stay up late, or even if you just don't get to bed at a consistent time, if it varies, that can cause stress. Poor food choices. So you've heard us talk about those fluctuating blood sugar levels. That is a huge cause of stress and elevated cortisol levels or fluctuating cortisol levels. And then something we see a lot with women who come to us is overtraining prior to joining our programs. And a lot of that is that culture out there. We get this idea that we have to work out so intensely for long periods of time and 6 or 7 days a week. And we're not giving our body the chance to rest and recover. And, I don't know if you guys see, like on social media, people will post after their workout a picture of their watch and just show like how many calories they burned. And it's like crazy amount of calories. So diet culture kind of has us believing like the only way to get results is to burn crazy amount of calories and eat less than what we're burning. And over time, that just can be so stressful to the system. So instead, we like to teach balancing out hormone levels, boosting metabolism, and get the body working optimally so that you're able to get results without taxing and stressing the body. And for a period of time, that huge calorie deficit will work. It'll get you results, but your body will adapt, and you'll end up, it's either very hard to maintain or you'll start to gain weight over time. Okay, so food sensitivities, that can also cause stress to the body, poor digestion, and that's kind of a cause and effect. So having prolonged stress or prolonged elevated cortisol levels can affect the way you digest and how your digestive system works. But then when you're not digesting optimally, then that can turn around and cause more stress. So again, we've got that vicious cycle. Injury or trauma, if you're someone who's sick often, and again, that can be a cause and effect. Stress can cause your immune system to be depleted. But then being sick can also cause, so being sick can cause stress, but stress can also cause sickness. Major illnesses. So I know when I had COVID in August, that really upset my adrenals and caused a lot of stress. And then I was constantly sick after that. So major illnesses can definitely be a factor in some chronic elevated cortisol levels. Skipping meals, this is something that a lot of people don't understand either. So skipping meals, you think, oh, I'm not getting as many calories, so I'm going to really help the weight loss, especially women. We've seen a lot of women who love to do intermittent fasting. But that can actually cause prolonged elevated cortisol levels, and it will do the opposite over time. And so in the mornings when you wake up, your cortisol levels are supposed to be the highest. So then if you drink coffee and skip breakfast for intermittent fasting, you're just compounding stress and keeping those cortisol levels elevated. So that's going to affect your metabolism, and it's also going to affect blood sugar levels throughout the day, as well as cravings. So intermittent fasting can be good for some, but it's not always the best route. A lot of times it's not ideal. So something to keep in mind. And then also fad or restrictive diets. So if you're someone who's restricting calories or carbohydrates, doing a low fat diet, keto, all of those things are going to cause stress to the body and be a part of elevating those cortisol levels. Now, environmental exposure. So this is like toxin exposure. It can be found in foods, so additives or artificial ingredients. It can be containers that your foods are stored in, or, you know, drinking out of a plastic bottle, which I shouldn't be doing, but this is all we had here at the office and I needed a drink. But chemicals can be leached into your water, causing more for your body to detox, and that causes stress on your body. Water, so water that's not properly purified, air that's not very clean, drugs, medication, alcohol, chemicals that you might be exposed to at work, skin products, cleaning products, things that can have ingredients that are not good or not ideal for your body, that can cause added stress, as well as excessive caffeine intake and allergens. So those are all examples of environmental stress. Okay, I'm gonna take a drink because I'm getting dry. Okay, so when your adrenals are elevated, let me move to the next slide. Oh, I guess we don't have a slide for this. Okay, so when your adrenals are elevated for a prolonged period of time, it can lead to adrenal fatigue, or it's also called general adaptation syndrome. And this is basically exposure to cumulative stress without the rest and recovery. So us just not taking that time, you guys, to just rest and get our body replenished. And it can be broken down into 3 phases. And so you really have to approach healing and restoring balance differently for each individual, because you could be in a different phase and your resilience or the way you bounce back from stress can be totally different. If you have 2 different people exposed to 2 exact same things, they'll probably respond differently just because of the way they're resilient, their resilience to that stress. Okay, so phase 1, there's 3 phases. You have the arousal phase, the adaptation phase, and the exhaustion phase. A lot of us are probably in this arousal phase currently. We've definitely seen clients in the adaptation phase and the exhaustion phase as well. But the phase 1 is just increased stress levels. So our body's producing more cortisol throughout the day, but the body is responding to the elevated cortisol level, and we're doing okay in this phase typically. Stress was designed to be turned on and off. And so we can handle elevated cortisol levels, right? We're designed to. It actually helps us deal with stress. But when those levels, when the stress isn't turned off and the cortisol stays elevated, it's not healthy and it's not beneficial. So chronically elevated cortisol levels can drive disease and also dysfunction within the body, like we've talked about. Okay, so in the arousal phase, cortisol is flowing. You're in a constant state of arousal, and it probably doesn't feel like fatigue at all. I mean, in this phase, we're all like, I'm feeling pretty good. It's that wired but tired phase. You're tired, but you're also kind of like wired because you've got that cortisol flowing. It feels like you're adapting to stress just fine. And so a lot of people think, I'm stressed, but I'm okay. Like I'm dealing. But when you don't give your body that ability or that time to rest and recover, that's when you get to some serious problems. So that's why we talk about the importance of resting and reducing stress. Okay, let me see where I'm at in my notes. Okay, still in the arousal phase. So in this phase, your body responds. You'll have increased heart rate, increased blood pressure. But in this phase, it already starts to constrict vessels to non-essential organs. So these are going to be organs that are not associated with fight or flight. So this is going to be like digestion. This is going to be sex hormones. So it's going to affect your libido, but it's also going to affect reproduction. It's also concentration. You're not going to be able to concentrate as well because you're just, in that fight or flight. Like your mind can't really focus in on things. But then it's also going to dilate blood flow to organs that are included in the fight or flight. So that's going to be your heart, your lungs, your muscles, and your liver. Again, you're going to have those elevated cortisol or those elevated blood sugar levels. And so things are just going to be off, and it's going to affect other hormones and organs in the body. So phase 2 is the adaptation phase. So you're going to have that repeat or compounding exposure to stressors, but this is where you have the loss of resilience. You're not functioning as well in this phase. And so during this phase, cortisol levels can be normal in the morning, but then reduce periodically throughout the day. And that can affect your other adrenal hormones as well. So symptoms at this stage are fatigue, sleep disruptions. So we see a lot of people at this stage just waking up in the middle of the night and just unable to go back to sleep, kind of like wired or energetic at night, but just exhausted during the day. This is where we see a lot of weight changes, salt and sugar cravings, increased allergies, anxiousness, irritability, low blood pressure, and compromised immune function. So basically, the bank account is overdrawn, and there is just, the body can't adapt. So lifestyle changes is a must during this phase. We want to really prioritize sleep. And I know that's hard because a lot of times, people get wired at nighttime and it's hard to fall asleep, but that's where we really recommend a sleep routine. So when your sleep is affected, it's most likely due to an imbalance with your melatonin and your cortisol levels. So if we can get your melatonin levels to increase, and sometimes you can take melatonin for a period of time to kind of teach your body how to reproduce that again. But also a bedtime routine is great to help with melatonin production. Getting consistent with bedtime. So, trying to get to bed before 10 p.m., but then also being consistent with what time you go to bed. And then trying to have uninterrupted sleep. And then, and a good way to do this too is if you have blood sugar that drops in the middle of the night, that's going to wake you up, and it's going to cause you not to go back to sleep. It's going to increase your cortisol levels at that time, because if your blood sugar levels drop, that is that's a fight or flight situation for your body. Your body wants to correct that, so it's going to wake up and think you need to eat. So sometimes just eating some protein and fat before bed, like in a hard-boiled egg or a little bit of turkey or chicken or something, that could help you stay asleep throughout the night, help with that uninterrupted sleep. Now, if you're like me and you have little kids that like to get in your bed, I can't help you there because I cannot help myself there. Okay, so balanced blood sugar, like I talked about, is really important. So that means steady blood sugar throughout the day. If your blood sugar is rising and falling throughout the day, it's going to do that at night too, and that's going to wake you up. And then decreased alcohol consumption. Alcohol affects our REM sleep cycle. It also affects melatonin production. So just being aware of that and limiting alcohol as well. And then I did mention a bedtime routine that's super important and effective. And then prioritizing nutrition. So I keep talking about blood sugar. That's like the number one factor that's going to help reduce stress. So really trying to eliminate processed or refined sugars and focus on natural sugars. And Christy just did a story the other day about, like, this does not include fruit. Fruit is fantastic. It is natural. We're not saying to eliminate sugars and fruits and things like that, but definitely processed or packaged sugars that are going to make some fluctuations in your blood sugar. That's what you want to limit. You want to avoid foods that you're sensitive to. So eliminate any food sensitivities, eliminate foods that are inflammatory for your body. And a lot of times, like, the highly inflammatory foods are gluten, dairy, and refined sugars, which we've talked about. But those are good ones if you're in the adaptation phase to eliminate to help with inflammation. And then during this phase, people often will like go for a piece of candy or, to give them a little energy, because it gives you that quick energy, but it actually causes more harm than good. Or they'll go for caffeine and kind of abuse caffeine during this phase. And that just causes more stress to the body as well. So we want to keep that in mind. And then gentle exercise is important. So we want to make sure that we're not taxing the body too much through exercise, but definitely moving the body is going to help in this phase. So, and then again, allowing for that rest and recovery. Okay, so phase 3 is the exhaustion phase. So this is where the cortisol levels are no longer elevated. I mean, they're just depleted. So you have low cortisol throughout the day. Sorry, guys. Okay. As well as the other adrenal hormones. You're going to be exhausted. You're going to have poor recovery from workouts or any kind of like larger event. So if you're traveling, it's going to just take it out of you. When you get back, it's just going to be hard to recover from that. Any stressful events or, just anything that you have going on out of the ordinary. It also causes cognitive issues. So trouble concentrating, trouble with short-term memory, the urge to sleep all day, loss of muscle tone, decreased libido, depression, and insomnia. So again, that like waking up in the middle of the night. Hold on. Okay. So how can we restore adrenal function? How are you guys doing? You guys still with me? I want to check in. Can you guys give me a hello? How you doing? Give me something. Let me know. And then do you guys have any questions up to this point? Good, good, good. Okay, cool. Do you guys have any questions for me yet? Yay, thanks, Jesse. It's crazy having you guys all on mute. I feel like I'm here by myself. Okay, I'll keep going. If you guys have questions that come up, throw it in the chat here. Okay, so restoring adrenal function. Number 1, you guys, I've talked about this so much throughout this training, but support blood sugar balance, okay? Number 1, so important. You want to remove refined sugars, so anything processed, making sure to check the ingredients list, and that's where you're going to find any processed sugars in there. Oh yeah, Jessie loves hearing the why. It makes her want to do better. I agree. Like, and I feel like over the last few weeks, I've definitely had elevated stress levels, and you kind of like just the society we live in. It's like, I'm going to push through. I got this. I'm just going to push through. But then going through this stuff, even though I know it, going through it to create this presentation, I'm like, okay, no, I got to rest and recover. I gotta love my body. I got to give it what it needs. And so sometimes just the reminder is so important too. Okay, so removing refined sugars, checking the ingredients list, and eliminating those processed sugars. If your blood sugar fluctuates throughout the day, again, it will fluctuate throughout the night, and that will affect your sleep. And sleep is so important. So really focusing on steady blood sugar levels. And okay, so removing hydrogenated fats. So these are going to be fats that have been chemically altered. They're found in processed foods. They're found in fast foods, packaged foods. So really removing or limiting. We don't like strict rules, but definitely keeping in mind that that is going to affect your adrenals. But also, so oxidized oils. I don't know how familiar you guys are with that. But olive oil is a fantastic oil, right? But it does not have a high heat level. And so it can become quickly oxidized, and that can affect so many things within the body. So you want to be careful with olive oil. It's a great thing for dressings. It's great to provide flavors to foods, but you don't want to heat it at a high level. So anytime you are heating oils to a point of where they smoke, that's a sign that it's been oxidized. And so you don't want that to happen. So making sure if you're cooking with oils, it's something with a higher heat point. Uh-oh, I got off on my notes. Hold on. Sorry, guys, bear with me. Okay, I found it. Okay, and then refined oils. So a lot of vegetable oils are often extracted using chemicals. And so these are going to be refined oils, and they are not going to help your body's stress levels, and they're not good for you. So you need to be cautious of that. So these are like cottonseed oil, canola oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil. Now, some of them are not produced using chemicals, but most often they're extracted using chemicals. So that has made them like rancid, and just they'll create free radicals in the body, which can lead to cancer and other issues. So that's something you want to keep in mind. Removing caffeine, it's okay to swap with green tea for some, but as far as coffee and things like that, and this is to restore adrenal function. This is if your adrenals are not functioning optimally. I'm not saying everybody has to remove caffeine, but just to help restore your adrenal functions. And then incorporating a balanced diet. So we don't want to do low carb. We don't want to do high protein, intermittent fasting, low fat. We want to have a balanced diet that's going to help properly fuel your body. And then again, eliminating those food sensitivities, anything that's going to be tough on your gut or cause inflammation, as well as other high inflammatory foods. So would you recommend using coconut oil? Coconut oil, yes, has a higher heat point than olive oil. So yes, Jesse. And this is something I just learned recently. So I used to cook my eggs in olive oil all the time, and my pan would smoke, and I had no idea that that was a bad thing. But if you put oil in a pan and it gets to a smoking level, you can just wipe out the pan and start over. I've heard somebody recommend cooking, like if you're sauteing vegetables, like saute them in what's it called, like chicken stock or something, and then just add the olive oil after for flavor. Okay, so eliminating food sensitivities and high inflammatory foods, and then incorporating a meat pill. So that's a little bit of meat and fat before you go to bed, if waking at night is concerned. That will help steady your blood sugar levels and help you stay asleep longer. So this could be like a piece of nitrate and nitrate-free lunch meat, chicken, hard-boiled eggs, something like that before you go to bed. And not a large amount, because that can be stressful on the body as well before you go to sleep, but just a little bit to help balance out those blood sugar levels. And then again, prioritizing sleep. So doing that sleep routine or that nighttime routine, or whatever you can do to help you really get relaxed. Oh, and something that is also extremely interesting when it comes to sleep. If you're somebody who wakes up in the middle of the night and you're just unsure why, I would check to see, you probably already know this answer, you don't have to check, if you have plugins by the head of your bed that are actually plugged in. EMF activity near your head while you're sleeping can affect your sleep. So try that. And then also just making sure your room is pitch black with no like little lights for, what's it called? An alarm clock or something. No lights, because any kind of light in your room can affect melatonin levels in your sleep as well. So keep that in mind. And then exercise, light exercise, though, you don't want to overdo it if your body is stressed. Okay. Okay, so supplements. There are supplements that can help you as well if you're experiencing any of these phases of adrenal fatigue or general adaptation syndrome. So multivitamin is not necessary if you're eating a balanced diet, but if you're not and you're struggling with adrenal issues, definitely incorporate a multivitamin. Omega-3s are awesome and help with inflammation. So the United States, or where we live, we are very low in omega-3s compared to omega-6s. And when that ratio is off, it's going to affect your body. It's going to affect inflammation. So it's really important to make sure that we're getting omega-3s where we can. Those are found in fatty fish, flaxseed, chia seeds, things like that. But you can also take an omega-3 supplement to help. Probiotics are so important for digestion. And as we know, digestion can impact our stress levels and our cortisol levels. You might also consider, if you struggle with digestion, incorporating, what are they called? Digestive enzymes with your meal to help you digest your meal. Vitamin D is helpful, especially if we live in the Midwest, not a whole lot of sun here, but vitamin D, most people are deficient in vitamin D. So definitely incorporate a vitamin D. And then B vitamins can help the liver detox, and then magnesium can help with relaxation. So those are all great supplements to incorporate if you have high stress levels. Okay, herbs are helpful as well. I don't know if you guys are familiar with ashwagandha. It's an herb or an adaptogen, helps your body to adapt to stress, helps reduce stress and anxiety, and helps reduce blood sugar levels. Rhodiola is amazing. I took this in college. and it was awesome. It helps the body adapt to stress. And then if you're in phase 3, you would consider adding ginseng or licorice. Ginseng boosts memory, reaction time, calmness, and immune system, and licorice reduces stress. So those are great as well. Okay. Do you guys have any questions on anything we've gone over today or so far? Okay, if anything comes up, drop it in the chat here. But today, so we've obviously covered stress and its effects on hormones, metabolism, and overall health, and then what can be done to reverse the effects and bring the body back to balance. But you might still be wondering, let me get these out of the way. So where do I fall in these phases of adrenal fatigue? What and how do I implement in my particular journey to heal my body and restore balance? How do I know what foods I have sensitivities to, or what foods cause inflammation in my body? How can I work out effectively to build muscle and burn fat without causing chronically elevated cortisol levels? And then how can I fix my metabolism so that I can get results? So if this is you and you don't know about Ignite, our private coaching program, I do want to tell you a little bit about it. This is stuff that we cover with our individual clients, really helping to restore balance in the body, improve digestion, all the things. And so I'm going to tell a little bit about it here in the next couple slides. Okay. So Ignite was created by my sister Jocelyn and I. We had finally found a way to live a balanced lifestyle, get sustainable results, and bring our body to balance. For the first time, we had food freedom. We used to be very all or nothing prior to getting on this health and fitness journey. And we had cravings that we couldn't control. We didn't understand. And so when we finally realized how to balance those cravings and feel in control, we knew we had to share it. We found confidence again as moms after, getting on this lifestyle journey. We had energy and overall health. We felt like we could show up better for our family and our loved ones. And we knew we had to share what we learned. And so this is how Ignite, our one-on-one program, was born. So if you're interested in this, but you're wondering if it's for you, we look for women who are ready to put in the work, because it does take work to get lasting results. It's for you if you want to balance your hormone levels in order to burn fat without restricting or spending hours working out. It's for you if you want to prioritize your health while finding balance. If you're ready to love your body and just be confident in your own skin and give it what it needs. If you're done with temporary fixes and yo-yo dieting, that whole diet culture, and you're ready to just get healthy from the inside out, and you're ready to step into your power and just become the sexiest and most confident you, this is for you. Okay, so what's included in the program? You have lifetime access to 12 modules where you can master your mindset, nutrition, and physique. So basically, these are going to help teach you everything that you're implementing in the program, why you're doing it, and it's going to help you make this a lasting lifestyle so that you don't need a coach forever. You're going to learn what to do to continue on once you're done with the program. You'll have weekly private check-ins with your coach, access to our app with your daily workouts and to track progress, weekly training and nutrition protocols that are specific to you and what your body needs, education on how to eat to improve digestion and balance hormones, and then you'll have access to a network of like-minded women working towards similar goals. Okay, so what are the benefits? Naturally increase energy levels and balance hormones, so you look your best and you show up as the best version of you. So energy, confidence, all the things. Gaining food freedom so that you can enjoy food without restrictions or rules around food. This is huge and has been life-changing for me once I finally got to the point where I was no longer all or nothing and I could just have a normal relationship with food. Controlling cravings and beating the yo-yo dieting and fad diets. Improving your digestion to overcome bloating, gassiness, constipation, or diarrhea. Digestion is a huge focus of this program, and it really carries on to all areas of your body. And then getting major results with quick and effective workouts that can be done anywhere in under 30 minutes with minimal equipment. And then learning how to prioritize time for yourself without taking away time from family or what matters most. So we focus on you achieving your health and fitness goals and maintaining them long-term without needing a coach forever. We're all about empowering you to continue this lifestyle. Okay, testimonials. We've helped hundreds and hundreds of women. It's been so awesome and rewarding to get to work with these ladies. Here are a few testimonials. Jessica says, a little over 12 weeks ago, when I started the Ignite program, I had no idea how my heart rate during a workout impacted my results. I never used to check my heart rate, let alone understand what it meant. I'm so grateful that the program not only gave me nutritional advice and exercises, but also knowledge. Ultimately, it is the knowledge and understanding of the why behind the nutrition and exercise advice that has provided me with the tools I need to maintain this as a lifelong lifestyle. I now know what I need to do to see the results I want and reach the goals I have. The best part is I don't have to pay a trainer for a lifetime or skip out on the ice cream or carbs to do it. No, you don't. Okay. And then Mary says, I'm obsessed with this new mentality I've grown to adopt in my life. Small changes over time equals long-term success. I think about years past after a week or several of indulging in all the things, what I would have done is to restrict like crazy, but not anymore. I'm getting right back on in the saddle, fueling my body with all the good stuff, drinking my water and getting my sweat on, and still allowing for life to happen and being okay if it's not perfection. I can't get over how much this mentality has changed me for the better. Okay. So if you are interested and you would like to learn more, I'm going to drop the link to apply in the chat here. And of course, I'm not prepared for this. So let me grab the link and add it. In the meantime, though, guys, if you have any questions, I would love for you to chime in